It is April 19th, 2022. I'm sitting here on the floor. I am reviewing the Sons of Italy calendar, not to frighten anything that may have whatever on something like this. I am reviewing the Boys Town, which looks like a garden calendar for the moment. The USA calendar is inside, but it is not a pronounced holiday for this unrest in the American colonies. While I am trying to traverse something that says the colonists resist. I was in a place for this local calendar, local calendar word, and again, invited in through the channel of 1975, Tio Rio, not Grand Rio, not the River Grande. I know these words get confusing. There are things I can explain and then there are things I cannot. All I can say is he is under 6 foot. He is 6 foot under at the moment. Somewhere between a Norwegian SURRI is what's around, and something in the bodies in the basement that had fathers that were in the base, meaning they were somewhat trained. I don't have a father in the basement business, or that I am aware of. I do not know what hand he holds in SURRI. In some, it looks like CURRI. I don't want that to get confusing with whatever. Here we are in the Bayside Times for this particular week. I am in this monumentous North American envelope. I don't know, a upper whatever would not put on the hat over the hat, but now is that a navel? No, because I don't have a navel to communicate the no or yes to in this version of English men in North America. So I do not want to make a symbolic mess of anything, but it is getting confusing how to protect one's own integrity and yet explain what is being pronounced in the local area. There are things I can explain, there are things I cannot explain based on who I am and what I am. This picture, are those the antenna or the little green men? They say this is Easter, that to receive special divine message for the resurrection. And again, resident, and then it has Sir in SURRI, inside resurrection. And that's the round, a round. So usually that means a closed circle, a closed safety unit. To me, anyway. Although I have not encountered it in this version of human thus far in the everyday. Right next to this, it says out and about in Queens. These are the local headlines. If you have people in the area, they can get this for free on the street. This is to keep, I don't know what, some agreement with I don't know who. I just stumbled upon it. For the last 2 weeks, I've been looking through it for some kind of sign of life from something in an RAW, since there's a WAR going on in mirror image. It says here, there's something that the humans did once upon a time called murder on the Orient Express. It's watch this Agatha Christie classic come to life on the big screen. The film from 1974, so that's 19th decade, 19th century, 7 decade, 4th year, stars big Hollywood names. It says this detective story follows the beloved character Hercule Poirot. Je ne sais pas in les États-Unis. In English, no, I don't know. Who is tasked with solving a murder that happened on the train on which he is traveling. Right. The orientation of where am I and what do they expect? These Americans? Or this British from the great beyond? I mean, I say the King's Guard from the great beyond. But again, I don't know who they represent at this point. Having not really had one to respectfully hold an arm with in figuring out what the locals are doing at SURRI in Tamil. Is it Tamil? Tamil or Tamil? Again, je ne sais pas, I don't know. It could be pronounced either way for Valkyrie. And I do not know how to get to Valkyrie at the moment. But there are some things in the locals' announcements that are concerning. Here it says, inside the surrogate court, they have created something, these humans, they call this New York. I know at Valkyrie elsewhere, they use Big Apple, they use the Empire State. Currently, I am frightened of what's around the courts and being in and out. I wouldn't know how to and whom to work with at the court level. I stay out of the courts, that's where the criminals usually are. But it says, towering over the northwest corner of Chambers Street, between Center and Elks, sits the historical New York County Surrogate Court. It says in here that just recently they took records out, but it only was 10% of the records. I don't know where they went. I don't know to whom they were read by, but these are significant inquiries that ministry should, on my family's side, be keeping an eye on. I don't know how to, or to whom to address that to, and why are they moving records around. It says it was home of the New York City's Hall of Records until 1962. Now it is the official site for the managing of probates and estate proceedings, among other duties in the New York State Unified Court System. With whom they're unified, I do not know. Is it the great beyond? Is it my great beyond? Is it this us? Because there's a lot of not us in this us that they speak of on the local station. I mean, just for here, I don't know how to get to a congressman level. If I wanted to be a congressman, even as a woman, they allow such things here. I would not know how to chase that line of employment or employ, but yet this calls itself Meeks and Congressmen. I don't know how. And it says paid for and authorized by Friends for Gregory Meeks. That's his, I don't know. I don't know what to call them. I don't have words for them because I have not built this area. I don't know who's been building in this area. I also have not been able to figure out how to traverse this area with purpose and with, I mean, again, if it's a no, is it a naval officer no? Like naval office no? Again, I'm here and I don't have any of them that I know of. Do they walk around incognito? Again, this gets confusing, but there's a lot of this words in here. If we are the Empire State for the interior for a USA band of whatever, which then gets to from a micro to a macro importance to a global importance, the superficial is very important. I don't know how we've been neglecting or shirking or bishirking because I haven't been allowed, or for one reason or another, I do not know. But they have on here a piece about this inside of the surrogates, but these are what's around. The superficial, what I call dermatitis, for an epidemiological, without going into deep-seated or rooted. This is gardening importance in the New York area at the moment. For the respectful men of I don't know what uniform at the moment, because I'm still working this express to orientate myself to what happened and where did they all go. And then there's inside of these pages that the locals put together, and I don't know any of them, but this is what they're pronouncing. There is an advertising. Now, I call my cat scratch, the last one, with this Tifra 1975 thing, I call him Antonucci. I don't know why. It just sounds right. His name is Anthony. I call him Antonucci. It's a household thing, like inside the house. And then we shorten it. We abbreviate it to Nucci. Sometimes I call him Henri Lossier. I call him a lot of different things, depending on whatever. But they have an advertisement that says, now this is part of the I can't explain, in like a hole between here and there, like out of this world kind of coincidence. Right, yeah, go with that at the moment, based on the machine. It says your first step towards secure future, and it's a job, and it says the corrections and community supervision. And then I underlined right here this name. So corrections and community supervision, again, it's just what I call my son. Just like I have Alexicon James, or Alexander James. He's one of my immaculate children. He was born in a special timing cubit. And then it says here, there's a saying somewhere in a hole between here and there that I've learned in things that you don't know how you know them, but you somehow know them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I had no anchor line or hook in reality as to what that might have meant until today, which is April 19th, 2022, and inside the Queen's line, the Greater Astoria Historical, now Astor is usually Asterid. I don't know if it's Albanian, Norwegian, again, je ne sais pas, non so, I don't know. But it says here, born in Poughkeepsie, New York on April 13th, 1899, Alfred Mosher Butts is the inventor of the popular board game Scrabble. Unemployed architect during the Great Depression, and he created the hit word game while living in Jackson Heights, Queens. It says it right here. Queens line. Here's the Astoria historical. This is where my last high school was. And it's a Scrabble inventor game while living in, and this goes back to Jack and the Giant Beanstalk at Heights. I mean, it's universal speak within the Big Apple. So that's important because the man's name was Butts, Butts. I know in architectural things it's the buttress. That's architecturally all right to speak of as a whatever I'm to call myself in amongst humans walking without somebody over 6 foot to hold an arm respectfully. Inside here, it says the colonists resist. This is what the locals, again, it's not, this is publication that all the public got and has access to. This is education system related to the local public school that my son is attending. And in this particular one, which has some kind of international licensing, I think, it says in here, it speaks of this word parliament. Now, is parler, parlez avec moi, s'il vous plaît? Is that's to speak. So now is that has to do with the military and the bodies in the base meant to do one or the other, correct? Because I think the movements have been less than advantageous for the RAW who appear topless at the moment in my local area when they are speaking gladiator whatever in the respectful art of, they call it wrestling, but again, I am a whatever on that. And then here it says, for important things, it says before this, each colony had thought of itself as separate from the others, as separatists, the colonists. The colonists thought of themselves as whatever, but then there's a different kind of colonist, I feel, but it doesn't say that in here. Thought of themselves as Virginians, New Yorkers, or Georgians. When they thought of an attachment to another place, it was always Great Britain. That is a wonderful story. It says it is also due to the fact that the colonists thought of themselves as British citizens with all the rights of Englishmen. And that, again, ties back into, for my purpose, the fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman, in between Parliament and the bodies in the basement, and what I have going on in New York in a SURRI when I need Valkyrie. And it might be looking like the one Albanian representative, I think he was over 6 foot. We were sitting right outside of something called a French workshop. He had a under 6 foot person with him. But he had this he looked like I don't know, but somebody who is important somewhere in the world. And he said that I speak Albanese. I did not know what that meant. I said, thank you. Somebody yesterday or the other day said they think I speak Hungary. I said, well, that's interesting, especially with the feast and the famine and the Hungary in the eye. Let's think about this in a respectful manner. But here, it's North America is what the label here that they gave me. It's a greater area, but I don't know what's going on in this Great Britain. They don't speak of it, not in the local paper. They stay very SURRI around New York for this Bayside Times. They don't do worldly and greater beyond, which is why I always say it's the great beyond. It's the King's Guard from the great beyond is what I need. One that is Nicole friendly at the moment. So that is what this has going on. What frightens me is when I read into this. Yesterday, they showed an engineer from this nuclear plant in Georgia. And in here, they have Georgian, which frightens me. Because there's supposed to be some King George somewhere. I thought the representative looked like myself. Because we have the greenback paper, or the green linen paper. And we have the rock that's in a silver color or a white marble stone color. That goes with a George Washington, but it feels as though there's some movement of identity thievery in public light that I've been making notes of for the King's Guard in the Great Beyond, because I don't even know in their Great Britain, I don't know how they speak in their words. I don't know how their parliament in their government. I feel like I'm stuck under the oppression of bodies in the base and what they meant to say if they got the part wrong in the parliament or the parlor for parlor speak. Again, I'm trying to traverse many different pieces of this puzzle, but on setting up my life frame, there has not been much directed correctly pieces or integral pieces, and I feel as though just it's slipping away, and it's really frightening. It's star 1978. So in here the choices are Virginians, which Virginia really does have my heart. I love their area, and their state is the same shape as New York. It's New York's, we have one looks this way and one looks this way. And I've owned property in both. I've had title and deed in both. For special purpose that I don't know how to protect myself and those that are looking to whatever. I'm just trying to traverse the words that the English have given me with mixed integrated help of I don't know what. So it is star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. But that Georgian, I don't want to dirty the name. I don't want to upset anything that might be aligning itself with a King George, because I do not know what that really means in a greater concourse of things. What I will say is, I just saw on the TV that nuclear plant was in Georgia. Whether it be state or outside country, I do not know. In an EI or an IO, je ne sais pas, non so, I don't know. It's what they showed on the whatever. So I made a document of it with a parlay overlay, so I don't get in trouble with bodies in the basement and Parliament. And if that was their King George, or if that was their George representative, that is a problem, because now there's all sorts of things that, with them having access to nuclear power a nuclear power plant. I mean, it was even embedded in a local. I didn't watch the cartoon. It was called The Simpsons. S-I-M-P. Sim. P-I. Simp. S-I-M-P-S-O-N-S. They also had a really bad video game named SimCity, SIMCITY. When I walk around, let's just say that at this point in the 20th century, it really starting to feel like SimCity's video game version. I don't know why, in New York, which is very dangerous and scary for me, considering it is like the Cardizona, or the heart of a larger piece between the Big Apple and the Empire, and then having a New York State layer at SURRI, or CURRI, depending on how you pronounce whatever and whatever. This morning I did kowtow. I wrote it. It could be pronounced kowtow, T-O-W, but if the W moves over, it looks like wing. But I meant it to be kowtow, even though tau normally is spelled T-A-U. And then there's also a local, they call themselves Crooklyn Boys in Brooklyn. They are, it is a J-Z, but he spells it J-A-Y-Z. He has a song called, it was Linkin Park is the solo artist with the song Numb, N-U-M-B, which I appreciate the single solo. Then Jay-Z, for a movie called Limitless, did a encore. So it became a Numb encore, N-U-M-B-E-N-C-O-R-E, with Jay-Z's words over it. And it's encore, do you want more? But it's, one last time I need y'all to roar, R-A-W. So, but I don't know if it's R-O-A-R as well. I don't know why again, it's a musical feat. It was on the radio waves on the FM, so I don't know if that's foreign ministry. But it was in the FM dial on New York in the Big Apple. Other people had heard of it on the airwaves. I know it holds significance in word and verse. I am not sure for what calculated purpose at the moment. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. Again, it's April 19th, 2022. And it is Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken.